If you were Kirk Cousins, what would you think about your future?
Well, I was Kirk Cousins a couple times in my career. You found myself in that situation. Yeah, I think if I'm Kirk Cousins in Atlanta, you probably think your career in Atlanta is over for sure. And I think when I went through it a couple times, so leave the Rams, go to the Giants, and then be benched when I was with the Giants 9 games in. My mindset was I still felt I could play, but I didn't know if anybody else would give me a shot. Right now this is two organizations that have kind of, moved on from me, so to speak. And that was that was the secondary thought in my mind was, man, is anybody going to give me a shot after, this season? Because obviously my year with the Giants was completely different brand of football than we played in St. Louis. So if you just looked at stats, numbers, whatever it was, you'd be like, oh my gosh, this guy's a shell of himself in New York from what he was in St. Louis. So he's probably not a starter anymore. And I think you could say the same thing about Kirk Cousins with this last stretch that he's had there. I'm sure there's a lot of people wondering, are his best years behind him? Can he ever get back to the form that he had, prior to this season? So I'm sure, part of that is going through his mind is what is the future? Is there a future for me as a starter in the National Football League?
Yeah, but what's that like to play at a peak level with the Rams, and then you get benched with the Giant? Like, how do you go from that high to that low, and then go back to that high with Arizona and go to the Super Bowl?
The bottom line, Dan, is you've got to be realistic with your situation, and you've got to take ownership of the stuff that's yours. And then you also know that there's a lot of stuff going on around you that isn't always on you, although it looks like it's on you, right? I mean, I broke down Kirk's, the interceptions when he had that 4-interception game. And there was a couple plays where I felt like his receivers, kind of duped him a little bit, and he ends up throwing an interception. And so to me, as a quarterback, you've got to go back and look at those things and go, you know what? That wasn't on me. And those kinds of things help you to hold your confidence, even when the stats may not say you're playing really, really good football. You hang on to what you know about yourself. You learn from those moments like, yeah, that was a dumb decision. What am I thinking in that situation? But you don't just all of us on the outside are looking at Kirk Cousins and just going, oh my gosh, he's terrible. He can't play anymore. And when you watch the film, I don't think that's the case. I don't think he was ever comfortable in Atlanta. I don't think he's ever been comfortable in this offense. I think there's a lot of, continuity issues between the guys and around him and himself. And it's led to a lot of this stuff that hasn't played into his strengths. And if I'm Kirk Cousins, I'm thinking, okay, that's not who I am. This offense didn't fit me. I need to find an offense that fits me because I believe I can still play at a high level. And that's how you hold on to that confidence, even when you're going through moments like this or you find yourself being benched.